Hey guys, and welcome back to another Firebird Friday. Today we're taking off the subframe of our 67 Firebird. So I'm going to go through the steps on what you need to do to take the subframe off your first gen Firebird or Camaro. Essentially, once you have it down to this point where the suspension's been removed, the radiator cord, everything else has been done, it's a matter of just removing the strain box, which is what I'm doing now. You have to remove the coupler from the actual shaft that goes to the box. It's just 2 bolts. Those come right out for you. It's supposed to come right out for you. Sometimes they get a little crazy on that. This is the regular power steering box. This isn't the shorter or the quick turn. So if that matters. I do have a question for you guys. If anyone knows, since this was originally an inline 6 Pontiac Firebird, and we now have a V8 in it, I understand that the pitman arm, which is below the strain box, is different for the V8 models than it was for the inline 6s. If anyone can confirm that, do I need to change that out to a V8 model, or what? If you would, comment down below. Let me know if you know the answer to that question. So getting back to this, it's just a matter of taking off those 2 bolts that hold the coupler on, and we'll move on. Alright, next thing is there's 3 bolts that hold the steering box to the frame. We'll take those off. Alright, one more. Sometimes those can be a bugger to get out. And I think there's that last one. Alright. Oh, I guess I did forget one. That last one. So be prepared to grab this thing. And it's not lightweight. It's got some heftiness to it. For some reason mine just did not want to take it off. We'll try this again. There we go. And if you have a set of extra hands that are willing to help and be on camera, it'd be helpful. Hint, hint. And with that, just trying to get a good grip on it, and we should be able to pull this right off the frame. Set this off to the side and keep it nice and clean. So the ground strap here and this fuel line is held in as well right here on the frame. So we're going to take those 2 things off. Alright, so there's a few things we didn't show you guys that I just want to explain to you. First of all, this is your parking brake cable, and it goes in here, connects to your foot pedal. Pulled that out. I had to cut it, and I pulled it out. As you remember, when we redid the back brakes about a year ago or so, it's missing all the hardware for the back brakes. So for now, we're just going to leave that there. We then went and made sure that all the lines, like we have our brake lines that run to the back wheels, it's connected to the subframe. So make sure you detach the little tabs that hold it. Kind of see right there. There's some of those down below. Just undo those. That way this line is free and from the frame. And then on the other side are your fuel lines. You have on the inline 6 67 Pontiac Firebirds, there's actually a return line for the fuel tank, back to the fuel tank. So there are 2 fuel lines. One is capped off, which is the return line since we have the V8 in it. And again, there are several spots on the passenger side frame rail going back that you have to take off, disconnect the fuel lines from the frame. So now that we have everything disconnected that I can see, I think it's time to maybe take these bolts off. And how I'm doing it, I got the jack stands positioned right there underneath that part. That seemed to be the best spot. I could see that was solid and I wouldn't fear of damaging any metal. And then on this side here, not quite the same spot, but close enough in there. But it was nice and solid. And you know, when you give it the handshake test, it's not going anywhere. So we are 4 bolts away from pulling out this entire subframe. All right, here we go. The first bolt, which is underneath the driver's side. Go ahead and get that out. And then same way on the other side. And then just forward of that jack stand there is the other bolts. There's 4 bolts that take those out. So we'll go ahead and just get all those out. Here's that front one. Go ahead and get the entire driver's side off. Now I do have that jack right there kind of giving me some support, and then I also have jack stands underneath the frame as well, just kind of a 3-point holding pattern. That way when I do take those bolts out, it doesn't just drop down on me. So go ahead. That there bolt took me, it was a bugger to get out. Had to have Robert help me a little bit, grab me some tools, but we eventually got that damn thing out. And with that, we can just wiggle it out.
Back right corner, it wasn't moving on shaking it clutch. Almost like it's a joint, it's just pivoting.
Okay, jack it up a little more. A little more. A little more.
That jerks.
I was gonna say the jack stands up here. They're not Harbor Freight.
Huh?
They're not Harbor Freight jack stands.
X to be disappointed in you.
Okay, jack up a little bit.
Up?
Yes, a little bit. Now at this point, all the bolts are out of the subframe, but it had been stuck to the bottom of this car since new. And those rubber mounts didn't want to let go of the body, so it took some finessing to encourage that passenger side subframe to release itself from the body of the car. And there she comes, slowly but surely, finally off the car. She's out.
10 minutes.
Now you're gonna go to the gate, right?
And it may take more than me and him. I don't know how much this thing weighs. Woo-hoo!
How hard was it to drag?
Alright, so we got that frame off, took it over to our side yard, and just kind of give it an inspection. This is the bottom side. This is 50 plus years of just oil and dirt and crud that has built up on the bottom side of this frame. We need to clean it up and make sure there's no problem, so I went with my tried and true oven cleaner. And if you want to watch a video on how to clean rusty stuff, I'll pop it up here for you to watch later on. But basically a can of oven cleaner, went ahead and just sprayed that whole bottom side of the frame. And I remember we washed the top part kind of earlier in the year when we were pulling stuff off and pulling the motor out. But a good oven cleaning, let it sit for 20 or 30 minutes per the instructions. Pulled out the old Harbor Freight pressure washer and just cleaned this frame up. You know, in Arizona, when it's 100 plus degrees out, playing with water, even high pressure water, is so much fun. And I started to notice, for the most part, it looks good. The frame looks good. It doesn't look like it's rusted anywhere substantially. There are a few bends or other areas on the frame that you can tell someone jacked it up improperly or whatever. At this point, we're going to see if I want to fix those or just kind of leave them as is. I don't think they're going to make any difference as far as structural quality or anything like that. So they're cleaned off, kind of raised it up, washed off some more of that top side that you see, especially the part of the arms that are underneath the car. And here's the results. For the most part, we got it as clean as we could get it. Next week, I will go ahead and start the sanding process to sand this down to bare metal and do another inspection on it. And then we're going to be painting the frame and putting it back in the car soon. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please check out next Friday and subscribe and like.